ever edition of Stagecraft Foundation's Sound Talk. How sound is our sound. Ladies and gentlemen, how proud I feel to be standing here in front of all of you, lovely students who are citizens of tomorrow and who are the people who are going to take forward where we are headed with sound. Today is particularly special for me because not only do we have all our nami-dami friends and students and people who we have known for so many years, it's also very, very special because we have the greatest of them all as far as India is concerned and the world, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who looks towards Mr. Resul Pookutty. Let's have a huge big hand for you. Years of singing, some of you weren't even born. Most of you weren't even born at that time. But I got the good vibrations from all of you because I do believe that vibrations carry you forward. And you've helped me along this 45 years of singing. I come from a time actually when nobody knew about stereo. I started singing in a small little nightclub called 9 Gems on Mount Road in Madras, which doesn't even exist anymore. Later I went and sang at the Savera Hotel in Madras, then traveled to Bombay. I am actually basically from Bombay, born and brought up in Bombay. But I can't even begin to tell you what a marvelous journey it has been. I never learned a note of music, I never went formally to any school, and so that carried on in my life. I have no regrets at all, except maybe if I had learned a little bit of staff notation and sight reading, it might have helped me in my career. But let me tell you, it's been a great, full of sound, full of silence, full of happiness, absolutely pregnant with happiness, my 45 years of singing. I've been absolutely a radio fan, completely, and it's been my biggest inspiration in life, listening to something from a small little speaker in those olden days. I come from a time, as I've already told you, when nobody knew about a stereo, and when I came to Drinkers to sing on Park Street, there was just one speaker over there, and everything else was, as they call it now, and make such a big thing about it, it was all unplugged. So, I am truly the original unplugged artist, but also let me tell you that it was an amazing thing for me to know that we could keep adding on and trying to make our sound a little better. As I've already confessed, I never had a single formal training, and so that carried on with sound as well. It was only through my experience and my day-to-day living and singing that I realized that we could do a little better than this every night. And we tried to do as much as we possibly could. I never knew how needles work. I never knew anything about how in the olden days we would say raise the volume, now we say raise the volume. And from here to here has been an amazing journey. But let me tell you that experimenting every night at Trinkas or whichever nightclub I was singing at, it has been so marvelous because I had heart and I had passion. The best combination, of course, would be when you're educated and when you're qualified and when you learn everything about sound and academically you know you're perfectly sound, then that would be a wonderful thing, but the best combination.
Journey into DJing and radio, everything started by mistake. Frankly, everything started by mistake. The reason being why? For my love for music. Let me just tell you a 1-minute story before I get into sound or radio sound. I remember it was the year 1983, sometime in Jan-Feb, at the Calcutta Swimming Club, where my dad was a member, so I was that child member out there, just about kind of reaching 18. The DJ who was playing the music on a Saturday maybe had one too many and fell off to sleep. So eventually the music stopped and there was a pin drop silence, so we were all zapped, and suddenly one committee member calls me and says, "Jimmy, would you like to start DJing from next Saturday?" So I had never done that in my life, but I love music, so I said, why not? So there I start DJing at the Calcutta Swimming Club sometime in Jan-Feb 1983 with 6 audio cassettes, which were my prized possession of music, my entire collection of music. And I still remember those days when there was a Sonodyne tape deck and a Cosmic tape deck with a Cosmic amplifier and 4 Cosmic speakers. There was nothing like a mixer or, those days vinyls were the in thing, we couldn't afford it. So there I started off, and I used to play one audio tape, and as soon as I used to finish, I used to press another button and start the next audio tape. So that's how my DJing career started. And as I carried on playing, and increasing my music collection, I still remember 4 years down the road, in 87, 88, there came this home-based Pioneer system which the club bought. A really powerful one. Those days with 300 watts RMS was kind of considered very, very powerful. So there came a mixer again with tape decks. And I said, let me try using the mic. I used to listen to a lot of radio, and I said, if these Goras can do it, then why can't we? So I picked up the mic, and that was my very first experience again. That was again in 86, 87, I picked up the mic to say a couple of words. And there I was tense, I was scared. I announced a wrong song. The mic slipped off and fell from my hand. And that was my first movement into actually talking on a mic. And then, of course, came 1994, my stint into radio. Again, it was like I was approached by a team of people at the end of 1993 and told, we are planning to start radio, would you like to be a part of it? So I told them, of course, why not? But I've never done radio in my life. So I said, don't worry, when it starts, we'll let you know. So on the 26th of July, 1994, in the city of Kolkata, those years, radio used to be one single frequency and...
While we're at sound, can we have a little more volume, please? Sound has a very important impact on psychology. That's why what we see here is how sound is our sound. It almost refers to the fact that a person can be of a sound or an unsound mind. So how sound is our sound has a psychological connotation. I'm going to give you an example. Suppose I walked into a mall and I met Vishwadip, and we haven't seen each other in years. So I see him and I say, "Hi Vishwadip, how are you? It's so good to see you. My God, it's been years." And Vishwadip says to me, "Yes, Vikram, it's very nice. I had a lovely time seeing you too. The mall is very nice. It's good to see you. Thank you." What's wrong? Anybody? What's wrong? And modulation. So, without the modulation, without the accent, without the throw of the voice, which means a control of volume, you can come across as being of unsound mind. Music is essentially communication. We may communicate happiness, we may communicate sorrow, we may communicate excitement, and so many other things. But the crux of communication lies in a few very simple things. For example, the impact of the sound, which is often to do with the loudness or the frequency of that loudness. It's to do with the modulation. It's to do with the expression, whether the human voice, the minute we are expressing something animatedly, we go to the upper register. Oh my God! And if we are saying something we want to communicate, suppose for example you want to propose to a wonderful lady, and you say, "Hey, I love you," you're going to be refused. If you said, "Oh, I love you so much," so there is a register, there is a frequency which addresses everything in daily life. So that is how important sound is.
As in, if movie making is a battle, is a war, then why do you mostly concentrate on the flags and the ornate decorations on the elephants and the horses, and not actually talk about the generals and the captains and the lieutenants who actually wage the war and actually, let the blood, sweat and toil do the talking. So, congratulations Stagecraft. I think we should have more of this in the future, and so that we could actually hear the people who actually make a film. I'm talking purely in terms of film, though it's a much larger vista when we are talking about how sound is a sound, but I'll stick to films. So thank you, Stagecraft. I would, the first thing which struck me again when I started making films is the kind of sound that is prevalent in our industry, which is primarily dubbed sound, as in we don't do a lot of sync sound in our part of the world. For those who are not initiated into the dub sound and the sync sound thing, sync sound is when you record the sound on location, and when you're actually shooting, you use the sound directly. So direct sound is kind of sync sound, and dub sound is the sound that you create because of a lot of external sound sources in the places that you shoot. It could be a studio, it could be an outdoor location, an exterior location. You recreate that sound. So you don't only recreate the sound of the actor speaking, you also recreate the sound of the road beside the room where the actor is sitting. You probably recreate a far-off cry somewhere, recreate a whole ambience in which that scene is supposedly shot, or the scene supposedly takes place. So what the problem which I often encounter, in fact a problem which I was encountering yesterday when I was dubbing for Rajkahini, is that in high voltage emotional scenes, or where probably there is a lot of modulation, and we've just seen some incredible demonstrations of modulations from Vikram Da. So when you replace that with a modulation in voice, and there's a complicated line, a complicated dialogue, a complicated passage in a movie, the actor or the actress has a lot of difficulty recreating that, and that is something which if especially I think something will Rudra will agree, that when a person is from theatre, he is or she is so dissatisfied with the dub, because at the end of the day, however great
your peers, your seniors, bash, and that's the first time I came to Calcutta, and the second time when I came to Calcutta, Prabhudeva was so big, and we were just out of film school. So nightlife is something that you enjoy. So we went to Trinkas. Eventually we landed up in Trinkas, and Trinkas was closed. And one of my producer guys said, "You know him? He's Prabhudeva's brother." With my beard and curly hair, somehow it passed off. And actually, the owner of the Trinkas opened the bar for us, and 2 o'clock in the morning. And the only thing I remembered was Ushadi, and I spoke to him about recording Ushadi there, and and she's been a part and parcel of our life, my growing up. So it was most befitting for me to come here when she calls up to be part of this event, and most importantly about sound, about people who are really unheard. And I take it as a